What happens when a bank stops thinking like a bank? Instead of keeping the status quo, it challenges it. Instead of thinking about how people should bank, we should think about how we can improve their lives. Instead of just offering products and services, we create experiences. When a bank stops thinking like a bank, it changes the game. This is what we're doing. We're bringing the future of banking to the present by being forward-thinking, innovative, agile, and open. The future is not an upgrade of the present. It's about doing things in an entirely different way. It's not just about creating products and services, but about bringing the bank to our clients wherever they go. The future is about embedding banking into everyone's lives. To accelerate your growth, we are connecting you to a whole new world of opportunities. To drive you to success, we're powering the future with advanced technology and platforms. So forget what you know about banking. This is our revolution. We are transforming every transaction and interaction because we don't want to interrupt your life. We want you to enjoy it. We don't want to just support your business. We want to help you build it. The future is here now, and we are just beginning. We are going to transform the lives of all Filipinos. We are a company of future-forward thinkers, committed to bringing dreams to life. And our focus is entirely on you. Because at UnionBank, the future begins with you.
Good afternoon, stockholders and guests. Welcome to the 2022 Virtual Annual Stockholders Meeting of UnionBank of the Philippines. We are once again conducting this meeting via live webcast to ensure the health and safety of all our stakeholders and participants. We will begin the meeting with the national anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang mag-ibig, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinagang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iibig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magdidinig. Luha ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Our stockholders and guests, may I introduce to you the members of the Board of Directors who are joining us remotely in today's meeting. Chairman Eramon I. Aboitiz, Vice Chairman Justo A. Ortiz, Mr. Sabin M. Aboitiz, Mr. Manuel R. Lozano, Mr. Juan Alejandro A. Aboitiz, Ms. Ana Maria A. Delgado, Ms. Nina D. Aguas, Mr. Michael G. Regino, Attorney Ricardo L. Moldes, Mr. Roberto G. Manabat, Mr. Ron Hose, Mr. Manuel D. Escueta, Mr. Josiah L. Go, Attorney Francisco Ed Lim, President and Chief Executive Officer Edwin R. Bautista. The Management Committee and key officers of the bank are joining the 2022 ASM remotely. Representatives from the bank's external auditor, CSIP Gores Velayo and Company, are also present in this live webcast. This ASM live webcast is being recorded. Vice Chairman Dr. Justo A. Ortiz will now preside over this meeting on behalf of Mr. Eramon I. Aboitiz, Chairman of the Board.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I want to thank our valued shareholders who are participating today at UnionBank's 2022 annual meeting via live streaming. Our stockholders who have voted in absentia through the bank's online voting portal and those who submitted their proxy forms appointing the chairman as proxy. The meeting is now called to order. May I know from the corporate secretary if we have complied with the notice requirement of the stockholders meeting?
Yes, we have, Mr. Vice Chairman. In accordance with the bank's bylaws and the revised Corporation Code of the Philippines, I have caused to be duly served the notice of this meeting, which contains the quick response code for the definitive information statement to all stockholders of the bank as of record date of March 11, 2022, by email for those stockholders who have given their email addresses, by way of disclosure to the Philippine Stock Exchange and the Philippine Dealing and Exchange Corporation on March 28, 2022, which was posted on the bank's website, and pursuant to SEC notice dated February 16, 2022, referring to the alternative distribution of the notice of stockholders meeting. The notice was published in the business sections of the Philippine Daily Inquirer and the Philippine Star in print and online format on March 30 and 31, 2022. The last publication was made 22 days prior to this meeting, in accordance with Article 4, Section 1C of UnionBank's bylaws and Section 49 of the Revised Corporation Code.
The stockholders of record, having been duly notified of this meeting, may I know from the corporate secretary whether we have a quorum?
Mr. Vice Chairman, based on the record of attendance at today's meeting, there are represented in this meeting by proxy, by voting in absentia through the bank's online voting portal, and by participation through remote communication or live stream, 1,372,225,566 shares out of the total 1,524,918,059 outstanding shares of the bank as of March 11, 2022 record date. As such, 89.99% of the total subscribed capital stock is present or represented in today's annual stockholders meeting. Therefore, certify that there is a quorum in this meeting in compliance with the requirements of the bank's bylaws. Stockholders who participated through remote communication or in absentia are deemed present for the purpose of quorum. The list of directors, officers, and stockholders who are present in this meeting will be reflected in the minutes.
There being a quorum, we shall now take up the items in the agenda for this meeting. May I ask the corporate secretary to state the rules of conduct and procedure of the meeting?
Mr. Vice Chairman, stockholders have been notified of the rules of conduct and procedures of this meeting as stated in the explanation of agenda items attached to the notice of meeting, which forms part of the definitive information statement. The requirements and procedures for registration to participate through remote communication and to vote electronically in absentia are stated in Annex B of the information statement. The voting procedures on the agenda items for approval at today's meeting are provided in item 19 of the information statement. In addition, the bank has engaged SyCip, Gores, and Villayan Company to conduct the third-party validation of the votes for this meeting.
We will now take up first the approval of the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held on April 23, 2021, and the special stockholders meeting held on August 11, 2021, copies of which are available in the bank's website and attached to the information statement. Are there any comments on the meeting minutes? If none, may we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Vice Chairman, my name is Julie Sigo, a stockholder of the bank. I move that the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held on April 23, 2021, and the special stockholders meeting held on August 11, 2021, be approved and ratified as recorded.
I second the motion. I am your stockholder, Margaret Ochoa.
It has been moved and seconded that the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held on April 23, 2021, and special stockholders meeting held on August 11, 2021, be approved and ratified as recorded. May I ask the corporate secretary for the voting results of the approval of the minutes of the previous meetings.
Mr. Vice Chairman, as tabulated and validated by SGV, 1,366,640,144 shares, or 100%, were cast in favor of approving the minutes of the annual stockholders meetings held on April 2021 and the special stockholders meeting held on August 11, 2021.
Are there any objections? There being none, the motion is carried. Next in the agenda is the chairman's message to stockholders. I now present to you Chairman Ramon I. Aboitis's recorded report.
Good afternoon, fellow shareholders. The pandemic tested the resiliency of many businesses and organizations around the world. Supply chains were broken, jobs were cut, and several businesses shut down. This forced many of us to rethink the way we do things. How do we remain relevant to customers and communities we serve? What needs to be done to keep our employees secure and engaged? How do we ensure the survivability of our institution in the long term? We in UnionBank acknowledge the gravity of the responsibility bestowed on us by our stakeholders who rely on the bank to keep the wheels of the economy turning. This meant working harder and smarter. This meant doing things differently. This meant continuing to experiment and innovate. Now more than ever, our thrust to build a bank of enduring greatness resonated even louder. In its 40 years of existence, UnionBank's thinking has always been long-term. As early as the late 1990s, we already chose to embrace technology rather than look at it as a disruptor or a threat. Today, the same mindset has not waned. Evidence of this is the bank's operationalization of a dual transformation strategy, strengthening today while creating tomorrow, anchored on technology. Through digital transformation, we beefed up the efficiency of our core banking operations. At the same time, build startups missioned to experiment on the business models of the future. The existential threat posed by fintechs and their new business models cannot be disregarded, but should be looked at as opportunities of staying ahead. We realized if we were to be disrupted, it might as well be us leading the change. We particularly witnessed the resiliency affected by our digital strategy during the pandemic. Despite the lockdowns, the bank experienced exponential transaction growth from the availability and convenience of our online banking solutions. With the help of digital tools, our sales force continued to deliver volumes even surpassing pre-pandemic levels. And while others halted their expansion plans, we fast-tracked our transformation roadmap in response to the pronounced shift of customer behavior towards digital. With the traction of our digital initiatives, we saw it as our obligation to bring others with us in our success. We heeded our higher calling to Tech Up Pilipinas. We enabled local government units with digital collection and disbursement solutions so that constituents will be able to transact with them despite mobility restrictions. We also facilitated the distribution of cash assistance to various communities through card solutions. We collaborated with various institutions to guide them in their own digital journeys and with them build digital solutions. Through our tech and innovation company, UBX, we also enabled MSMEs with the essential platforms to more than survive, but to help them thrive in a new world of e-commerce. And in spite of the ongoing pandemic, our heightened responsibility as Filipino citizens extended during another crisis, Typhoon Odette. While many banks were affected by power and network outages, UnionBank made sure our banking facilities were up and running during the first weeks post the onslaught. Our teams worked double time to activate our branches and ATMs. We also shipped our bank on wheels, our banking truck, to the disaster-stricken province of Cebu to provide customers access to much-needed financial services. This we did on top of the usual relief efforts done by union bankers, staying true to our commitment that no one gets left behind. Over and above our successes, we are fortunate to be in a position that allows us to support our communities during disruption situations. But this would not have been possible if we rested on our laurels back in the day. These all happened because of our inbred culture to challenge convention and think long-term. It goes without saying that the resiliency and sustainability of UnionBank relies greatly on its people. As we aspire to be an organization that endures greatness and stands the test of time, it is clear in our minds that integral to our digital journey is the transformation of our people. We are truly proud and appreciative of the 7,000 plus union bankers who've taken the bank to where it is today. But we also realize that the journey has just started. Given the resiliency and agility of the organization, UnionBank is in a unique position today to fast-track its growth and transformation plans. Still anchored on our dual transformation roadmap, we are continuing to strengthen today's business by fortifying our core banking operations, at the same time innovating for the business of tomorrow. On top of continuing our digital customer onboarding and engagement initiatives in the parent bank and across our mass market subsidiaries, we started 2022 with 3 important initiatives that are transformational for UnionBank. The first is the integration of our business with Citibank's consumer portfolio in the Philippines. This move will accelerate our goal to become a great retail bank. This acquisition will catapult our position in the credit card industry and strengthen our wealth management business. Apart from the scale we will achieve from the sheer combination of our portfolios, we envision that employees and customer experiences will only get better from this point onwards, as we aim to learn from each other's best practices and maximize the synergies from both entities. We also expect to start the operations of Union Digital, our licensed digital banking arm. Union Digital, an essential part of our growth aspiration, will fast-track the penetration of the larger untapped retail segment in the country. This also accelerates our overall digital strategy, as the technology stack and business model of our digital bank may challenge current conventions and unlock the formula of sustainable banking. And while doing this, we will continue to venture into and partner with potential disruptors in our quest to discover new ways of banking. We have UBX on its 3rd year of operation, quickly gaining traction given the boom of e-commerce. But alongside sustaining its growth momentum, UBX is already gearing up for the next big thing in BSP's digital payment roadmap: open finance. By harnessing key functionalities of its MSME platforms and API-ready infrastructure, we envision UBX to be a one-stop shop that will enable various participants in an open banking environment. 2021 will be remembered as the year when we put the worries of the pandemic behind us. But more importantly, it will be the time when we gained greater appreciation of the seeds planted in the past, monetarily, strategically, and culturally. That brought forth the resilient organization we are today. As we carry out our plans for 2022, we are continuously guided by our commitment to deliver value to our customers, employees, shareholders, and our country at large. With this, I am confident that UnionBank will continue to grow as an organization that advances business and communities and endures greatness for more years to come. On behalf of our board of directors and the 7,000 Union bankers, we thank you, our valued shareholders, for your trust and confidence. The future begins with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this juncture, our President and Chief Executive Officer, Edwin R. Bautista, will present the pre-recorded report on the financial and operating results, which includes the summary of the audited financial statements of the bank as of December 31, 2021, and the actions done by the board, its committees, and the management of the bank for the year 2021.
"2021 was a great year for our bank. Despite the pandemic, we recorded strong financial results and hit significant tipping points in our strategic initiatives. I am happy to report that we exceeded our financial targets in 2021. We posted a net income of 12.6 billion pesos, which is 1 billion more than what we made the previous year. This translated to a return on equity of 12%, which is 33% above the average of the industry. Our revenues were at a new high of 45.1 billion pesos. Our net interest income was up due to higher margins, owing to the record growth of our CASA deposits for the second consecutive year. Higher fees, service charges, higher foreign exchange income, and higher trading income also boosted our top-line revenues. But noteworthy of all is the outstanding shareholder value we generated in 2021. Total shareholder return, or returns from the appreciation of our stock price and the yield from our cash dividends, totaled 78%, the highest in the banking industry. We attribute this to the market's affirmation of our growth plans, particularly the setup of our digital bank and our acquisition of Citibank's consumer portfolio. The pandemic clearly highlighted the relevance of our digital strategy. This is why, while other organizations put a pause in their expansion plans, we, on the other hand, went full throttle with our digital initiatives in 2021. We accelerated customer acquisition across all our digital channels. We acquired close to 1 million new digital customers via our apps digital account opening capabilities. Our sales force was also able to reach more customer ecosystems using our cash management solutions. We also remain among the top 3 banks in terms of PesoNet and InstaPay transactions, besting our larger peers. With digital channels becoming a necessity, we continue to introduce new features and product offerings to improve the customer experience. We also launched our MSME business banking app, which completes our suite of customer touchpoints. Moreover, we continue to convert more branches into the ARC configuration. So to date, we have 150 branches with transformed spaces, processes that are streamlined, and people who are more equipped to serve our customers' needs. City Savings was also on full steam in its expansion plans. Today, City Savings is no longer a DepEd teachers bank, not only a teachers DepEd bank. It has grown and diversified into the motorcycle and personal loan businesses. Thanks to our resilient sales teams, motorcycle loan releases reached a record high in sales, while personal loans almost tripled year on year. UBX, our fintech subsidiary, on the other hand, rode on the rise of e-commerce during the pandemic. Total MSME signups have grown close to 200,000, up 30% versus last year, while our monthly transactions have reached the 1 million mark in December 2021 alone. This has generated a good amount of recurring revenues for UBX, which will help support its operations moving forward. A major addition to our strategic initiatives is the setup of our digital bank called Union Digital. We are pleased to be the only private universal bank among the 6 granted by the BSP with a digital banking license. Union Digital is essential to our goal of banking more Filipinos and promoting inclusive prosperity. It aims to deliver a new level of customer service and redefine banking by doing it cost effectively and sustainably. And when we thought that 2020 was over, we capped the year with a historic announcement, our successful deal with the Citigroup to acquire its consumer banking business in the Philippines. This acquisition accelerates our goal to becoming a great retail bank. This will bring our credit card business to the top 3. Our consumer loans will grow to 50% of our total loans and thus improve our margins and recurring revenues. The transaction is also expected to add close to 1 million, I repeat, 1 million credit card and wealth management customers who are most ripe to avail of consumer banking solutions. With the opportunities that arose in 2021, UnionBank, your bank, our bank, is uniquely positioned to leapfrog its long-term objectives. We enter 2022 optimistic and challenged by the next steps in our transformation roadmap. Our key initiatives are laid out in our 5-point strategy, plans A, B, C, D, and E. For plan A, the focus is to maximize operational efficiencies of the parent bank and City Savings. The parent bank will continue to ride on the momentum of customer growth, but it is also crucial for us to support our scale of customers and transactions. To do this, we shall ramp up our cloud migration and DevSecOps implementation. Migrating our IT systems to the cloud will enable us to reap cost efficiencies in the long term, while DevSecOps shall accelerate the development, testing, and deployment of new innovations. Citi Savings will continue to ramp up the growth of the motorcycle loans business as we continue to introduce process innovations to beef up productivity and profitability. Plan B is about accelerating the recurring revenue of UBX. UBX's goal is to double recurring revenues by the end of 2022, and it shall do so by onboarding more platform customers and increasing its base of active users. UBX's MSME platforms will also continue to be rich sources of customer leads across the various businesses of the banking group. Let's go to Plan C. C stands for Citibank integration, which is our top priority for 2022. It is important that we ensure a smooth transition for Citi's customers and employees. We are already, as we speak, replicating products and services, building critical capabilities, and getting regulatory approvals to ensure the timely migration and integration of Citi's consumer business. The sooner we do this, the faster we realize the value of Citi's portfolio and its synergies across the UnionBank group. Plan D, it's about our digital bank, Union Digital. Its successful launch this year is most critical. We aim to hit the ground running, leveraging on the lending experiments already done by the parent bank. We're also closely tracking critical milestones for this launch, which will enable us to immediately deliver value to our target customers, shareholders, and all other stakeholders. And now to finish with Plan E. E stands for ecosystems. While the cogs of plans A, B, C, and D are simultaneously moving, they're not operating independent of each other. The collaborations and synergies happening across our A, B, C, D strategies are essential to our growth. Tapping or harnessing existing customer ecosystems within the UnionBank group, across the AEV conglomerate, across the ecosystems of our major shareholders, and even external ecosystems is key to expanding our reach and engaging more customers. It is also essential as part of the higher calling, which is to tech up Pilipinas. So I would like to express gratitude to our board of directors for their continued guidance all these years, and to all union bankers for your great effort to take us to where we are today. Thank you to our customers, partners, shareholders, friends, for your unwavering support and trust in the bank. We look forward to another year of success as we leap towards our goal of becoming a great retail bank. The future begins with you. UnionBank, our bank, our future. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, President Edwin. May we now have a motion to approve the annual report of management on operations of the bank for the year 2021, indicating the bank's visions, plans, and accomplishments, including the actions of the bank's management and the audited financial statements as of December 31, 2021, which was attached to the information statement and posted in the bank's website. May we have a motion to approve the annual report and audited financial statements as of December 31, 2021?
Mr. Vice Chairman, I am Ivy T. Zuniga, your stockholder. I move that the bank's annual report of management on operations for the year 2021 and the audited financial statements as of December 31, 2021 be approved.
I second the motion. My name is Edsel S. Babas, a UnionBank stockholder.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the annual report of management on operations for the year 2021 and the audited financial statements as of December 31, 2021 be approved. May I ask the corporate secretary for the voting results of the approval by stockholders?
Mr. Vice Chairman, as tabulated and validated by SGV, 1,366,059,426 shares, or 99.96% of those present, were cast in favor of approving the annual reports of management on operations for the year 2021 and the audited financial statements as of December 31, 2021.
Are there any objections? There being none, the motion is carried. Now, we will answer questions from our stockholders. May I please ask the moderator for the questions that have been sent in by stockholders?
Mr. Vice Chairman, we have a few questions received from stockholders sent via email through the Office of the Corporate Secretary. The questions were sent by stockholder Ishmael Sam Kanua. First question, how many employees have been administered COVID-19 vaccines that the company bought? Please indicate the number of vaccines per brand and how many vaccinated employees.
Thank you for that question. UnionBank focuses on the health and safety of its employees. We take this seriously. So UnionBank provided vaccines for 100% of its employees, and 99% of UnionBank's employees eligible for COVID-19 vaccination have completed the required 2 doses using DOH-approved COVID-19 vaccine brands.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. The second question is, since the passage of the amendments to the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, the Foreign Investment Act, and the Public Service Act, what will the impact be on the performance of the company in the next few years?
The amendments to the laws mentioned all deal with promoting foreign investments in what is today nationalized or partly nationalized industries by easing restrictions on foreign ownership. These are welcome developments to us as they incentivize foreign investments to come, which will create jobs, foster competition, and benefit the country and society as a whole.
Thank you for that, Mr. Vice Chairman. The last question is, what are the recommendations for the next administration to improve the country's banking industry and make it more reliable and secure for customers?
Well, we answer this question with some humility. And some of the things that I would think about as recommendations, which are not necessarily a complete list, would be 1, improving the information, communication, and technology infrastructure to allow for digital ecosystems to flourish countrywide. This will assist us and the BSP and the industry in achieving its digital transformation roadmap geared towards improving financial inclusion in the country and making digital transactions 50% of transactions by 2023. Second, the continuance of BSP's digital transformation initiatives, such as the rollout, especially of open finance regulations, which has now been greatly enabled by the national ID. Third, stronger collaboration between public and private sector in matters, in particular, of cybersecurity and data privacy, which is so integral to a digital banking ecosystem. And maybe a fourth item, and there are others, but we'll stop here, to incentivize financial institutions that are particularly focused on small and medium enterprises or even micro enterprises to recover from the pandemic, as they are considered as key engines and the backbone in the growth of employment and the growth of our economy. Thank you for those questions. Are there any more?
That's the last question, Mr. Vice Chairman. Thank you very much. Any questions relative to the agenda items presented at this live webcast may be submitted to the Office of the Corporate Secretary via email as shown on the screen. The bank's answer will be sent to the stockholders' email addresses. Thank you.
Next in the agenda is the ratification of actions of the board, its committees, and including the actions of management of the bank for the year ended 2021, as reported previously by our President and CEO, as well as those prior to the date of the annual meeting. This pertains to all contracts, investments, and resolutions issued, and all other acts and proceedings which were done in the ordinary course of business, and when appropriate, have been subject to disclosures to the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Philippine Stock Exchange, the Philippine Dealing and Exchange Corporation, and the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, together with all the related party transactions disclosed in notes 32, pages 142 to 147 of the audited financial statements, which was attached to the definitive information statement in accordance with the revised corporation code and enumerated under item 5 of the information statement.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I am Benedicta D. Jimenez, a stockholder of the bank. I move to ratify and approve the actions and decisions made by the board, its committees, and the management of the bank for the year ended 2021, as reported by our President and CEO, as well as those prior to the date of the annual meeting, together with all the related party transactions disclosed in Note 32 of the audited financial statements, as stated in item 5 of the information statement.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I second the motion. My name is Julie Sigo, UnionBank stockholder.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the actions of the board, its committees, and the management of the bank for the year ended 2021, as reported by our President and CEO, as well as those prior to the date of this annual meeting, together with all the related party transactions disclosed in Note 32, pages 142 to 147 of the audited financial statements, and enumerated under item 5 of the information statement, be ratified and approved. May I ask the Corporate Secretary for the voting results of the approval of this item in the agenda?
Mr. Vice Chairman, as tabulated and validated by SGV, 1,366,059,220 shares, or 99.96%, were cast in favor of approving this item on the agenda.
Are there any objections? There being none, the motion is carried. Next in the agenda is the appointment of the external auditor of the bank for the fiscal year 2022.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I'm Andy Libeth M. Antiquina, a UnionBank stockholder. I move that the accounting firm of CSEP Gores, Velayo and Company be appointed as the external auditor of the bank for the fiscal year 2022.
I second the motion. My name is Ivy T. Zuniga, your stockholder.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the accounting firm of Sisip Gores Velayo and Company be appointed as the external auditor of the bank. May I ask the corporate secretary for the voting results of the approval of this item in the agenda?
Mr. Vice Chairman, as tabulated and validated by SGV, 1,366,639,938 shares, or 100%, were cast in favor of approving the appointment of the accounting firm Sisip Gores Velayo and Company as the external auditor of the bank for the fiscal year 2022.
Are there any objections? There being none, to the appointment of Sisip Gores Velayo and Company as the bank's external auditor for the fiscal year 2022, the motion is carried. We come now to the election of directors for the 2022-2023 term. Election is made in accordance with our bylaws, where the directors of the bank have a term of 1 year, subject to re-election. 15 seats in the board are available to be filled up. May I know from the corporate secretary the list of nominees for election as members of the board of directors for the 2022-2023 term?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chairman. The following individuals were nominated as members of the board of directors of UnionBank to serve for the 2022 to 2023 term. They were qualified and screened by the Corporate Governance Committee of the bank at its meetings held on February 3, 2022 and March 24, 2022. Regular members are Eramon I. Aboitiz, Dr. Justo A. Aboitiz, Sabine M. Aboitiz, Manuel R. Lozano, Ana Maria A. Delgado, Samel A. Aboitiz, Nina D. Aguas, Michael G. Regino, Attorney Ricardo L. Moldez, Edwin R. Bautista, and the following are the independent directors: Roberto G. Manabat, Ron Hose, Manuel D. Escueta, Josiah L. Go, and Attorney Francisco Ed Lim. Their qualifications as directors of the bank are in compliance with the provisions of the Revised Corporation Code, existing BSP regulations, and SEC circulars. The bank has not received any objection from stockholders when the list of nominees with their qualifications and relevant experience, length of service, training, and their board representations in other corporations contained in the bank's definitive information statement was posted on the bank's website and disclosed to the Philippine Stock Exchange and Philippine Dealing and Exchange Corporation. Thus, their nomination and election as directors of the bank will be for a term of 1 year in accordance with the Revised Corporation Code.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that all the nominees for members of the board of directors be declared as duly elected directors of the bank to serve their 1-year term. I am Andres B. Alcantara, stockholder of the bank.
I second the nominations. My name is Margaret O. Chow, your stockholder.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that all the nominees for members of the board of directors of the bank be declared as duly elected directors of the bank to serve their 1-year terms. Are there any objections? There being none, the motions are carried. There being enough seats in the board to be filled up by all the 15 nominees, the following are elected as directors of the bank to serve for the ensuing 1-year term, namely Eramon I. Aboitiz, yours truly, Justo A. Ortiz, Sabine M. Aboitiz, Manuel R. Lozano, Ana Maria A. Delgado, Samel A. Aboitiz, Nina D. Aguas, Michael D. G. Regino, Attorney Ricardo L. Moldez, Edwin R. Bautista, and independent directors, namely Roberto G. Manabat, Ron Hose, Manuel D. Escueta, Josiah L. Go, Attorney Francisco Lim. The corporate secretary is directed to apply the votes received in favor of the 15 nominees who are all deemed duly elected members of the UnionBank Board. Mr. Vice Chairman,
Mr. Vice Chairman, all votes cast and received by the Office of the Corporate Secretary and confirmed by the stock transfer unit of the bank have been applied. The results of the votes cast as validated by SGV, the third-party vote validator, are shown on the screen.
okay, so congratulations to all our newly elected directors. I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the members of the board to thank two directors or former directors, Juan Alejandro Aboitis and Aurora C. Ignacio, for an exceptional service that they rendered to the bank and for imparting their valuable insights, contributions, and support for the success of UnionBank. Let us all welcome the bank's newly elected director, Mr. Samel A. Aboitis and Attorney Moldes. The business of this meeting has been concluded. May we have a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Vice Chairman, I'm Edsel S. Babas, your stockholder, and I move that the meeting be adjourned.
I second the motion. My name is Anlilibeth M. Antiquina, your stockholder.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the meeting be adjourned. Are there any objections? There being none, the motion is carried and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all for joining us today. That ends the 2022 annual meeting of stockholders of UnionBank. To continue our post-meeting tradition, all stockholders and guests who have attended today's live webcast will receive their refreshments. These will be sent to you via email with the voucher codes that you can redeem. It is our simple way of expressing our gratitude and appreciation for your continuous interest and support for UnionBank. Thank you all and have a good day.